Everyone, good morning. So we are going to work on the end-to-end data flow. Okay, so let's talk about from this customer portal. From here, what are the requirements for the customers to actually submit this mobile, not only mobile check deposit, if you can explore other features, for example, let's say. So online and mobile banking features. So you'll be able to with mobile banking, right? You'll be able to do all of these. You can do card management, you can do account management, you can do any kind of for example, digital services you can have a digital wallet, you can go paperless, and then you can also pay all your bills. So mobile check deposit is one of the functionality, right? So but from the project perspective, oh, the actual project that you will be adding in your resume will be both online banking and mobile banking. So in mobile banking, you're going to say that I was working as a BA in mobile banking. A team, and as a team we were responsible for all these different kinds of functionality. So for example, we have this card management functionality, so you need to know all these functionalities. So for example, if it's card management, a customer can, if they're having, a customer can actually replace a card using mobile. So what they will do is they can order a card replacement, for example, like credit card or debit card. They'll be able to reorder it using your mobile banking too. For what they have to do is they have to go to the mobile app, and they're going to click on replacement a card and show me how to replace her. So for example, here you have to go, then you log in. Once you log in, you're going to go to that account. In that account, you're going to have replace credit card. So then it's going to verify, it's going to ask for your identity. So it's going to send you an authorization, a code, okay, to either a text message or a phone. Whatever phone number you have given is going to send you a code. Once you verify that, is going to show you card or device damage. And so you're going to choose one of the reasons. We are going to give a bunch of reasons for the customers to choose. So whether they want a new card, or they have lost their card, or maybe they have what is the problem, why they need a replacement card. So if they take something, one of the reasons, right, when I click on that, it's going to show the name, what that needs to pop up. And if it's going to be a joint account, it may show your name, your spouse name, both their names, but you're going to have whatever under whose name you want the card, right? You have to choose that name, and then you're going to click on placeholder. So if you do that, right, automatically from here the trigger logic will go to the printing system. So I will say in back end what is happening. In front end, it's navigating all these pages. We know we know the business requirement. So it needs to be a valid user, needs to have a valid username and password. After that validation, they have to follow these procedures. So we are going to do an authentication too. So if one of that fails, the page is not going to navigate. If either they don't enter the PIN, or the phone number is not a valid phone number, then we cannot proceed to the next page. So it will stop saying, so the code expires 10 minutes, right? So it will expire. So that's one thing. That's we are having a validation there. Then it has to, I mean, they have to choose one of the reasons. So depending upon the reasons, you're going to populate the names, and then you're going to place order. Once they click place order on the front end, at the back end, you have to get a request, right? So request will be in Pega base. So once they click here, place order, you are going to have a case created in your Pega at the back end. So here, if you see, So you can say that, see here, mobile, right? So your Pega application, actually, if you see the preview, so you can create any kind of application with Pega. You can do a web portal, or you can do a phone, like these apps. So you're going to tell, like, for example, homepage, it's going to be here. So all this, whatever we saw here, right, that will be your front end, like what needs to appear where. All that also you can, like, basically this also can be done in Pega. So let's go to the Pega Studio. So yeah, this is the mobile app. So for example, Apple, and this is Android. This is Pega. So you are going to, like, you're not going to build the app, but you can, like, list the page navigations here. So this is the home page. From there, like, for example, I'm clicking on, like, mortgage loan approval list. What are the labels that it will appear? So if you see here, right, if I change something here, here also it will change. So for example, primary is primary. You cannot delete that. I'm just deleting this one. So that will not be there. List items will not be there. So simultaneously you can see, if I add something here, you'll be able to see it here. So as I've told you earlier, you're not developing, you're just going to, like, give an idea to the developer. He's going to do that for you. So I'm going to, like, save it. Then what's the layout? So layout is, this is the launch screen, this is the app icon, and then you're going to say configurations or manage, you can say. So in the interview, if they're asking you, like, for example, very specific JD, like, tell me about banking or mobile banking, tell me end-to-end data flow, you're going to say that I worked in this particular bank, and the team that I worked was mobile application, mobile banking, and the coding platform that we use to create this whole functionality is Pega application. So everything, front end, back end, everything, the case creation, everything is happening in Pega. So when they ask you, like, okay, as a BA, what did you do? What did you do means, like, I gathered requirements. There are multiple functionalities here. For example, this card replacement can be an epic, and then mobile check deposit can be an epic, and then what else? What's- See here, all this can be an epic. Okay, this is an epic. Under this epic, you're going to, like, I mean, not an epic. This can be, like, different projects itself. But you can always say that I was working in one of those enhancement projects. So, for example, replace card, and also, like, this credit card rewards, or if they're going to be, like, anything like a debit card, locking and unlocking a debit card, right? So if something happens, they're going to lock your debit card. For example, um, if you receive, like, unauthorized transactions, and then somewhere, like, outside of the usual location, sometimes, like, Bank of America is going to lock it. They're going to say that this is something like unusual, we find it suspicious, so we are, like, locking um your debit card. Or if you're changing the pin and you don't, like, they give you a new debit card and you didn't change the pin, you'll not be, the old one, right, it is already locked. So the new one, you have to, like, go and verify in your phone, and then once you authorize it, you'll be able to use your new phone. So there are, like, many features that you can take it as examples, and you can tell it in your resume what you have done. But from a data flow perspective, always remember that you are using Pega only. Okay, so from Pega, front end is Pega. From there, whenever they want to create something, for example, I do a card replacement. I go to, I want to replace my credit card. So I'm going to my mobile app and I'm downloading it. And as they told me that I'm going here and I'm going to click on, I need a new credit card. I'm creating a case. Once I click on submit, in the back end here, a case needs to be created. Okay. So here, right, in the, oh, where is my project? So here for me, a case needs to be created. So why we are creating a case in the backend means someone is going to like manually, why it's taking 7 to 10 business days, it has to go to a queue. So when we say in Pega, right, in Pega, we have a queue system. Queue system is, first of all, multiple ways this card replacement can happen. It can happen through online banking or it can happen through mobile banking. There are two different teams actually. So one is like in online banking also. Online banking means portal. Okay, this web portal also, they can just go to this web application. They can use their user ID and password. They can follow the same instructions how to replace a credit card, and they can submit a request. Even if they submit a request in their front end here, a case needs to be created in the back end so that someone is going to actually manually review it, or to some level we can automate it. So if you want that also to be automated because it's an existing like user, so you know that he's just replacing it card, we can automate that too. To some level we can automate the whole thing in the back end also. If you get a case automatically, like it's going to the print vendor, they're going to give you a replacement, like two different things, right? So one, they're going to, for this debit card means you'll get pin number also. So you have to send like two different letters. So in the back end with this Pega application, you're going to integrate with the printing vendor too. From here a case will be created, and a case, after creating a case, it needs to be routed. If everything is all the details we have, we know that's an existing member, they just need a replacement card, then we have to like route this request to a printing vendor. So the printing vendor needs the address, current address, member first name, last name, and they need their details, right, in order to send them this credit card. So if it's credit card, there needs to be a letter in a certain way format, and we're going to attach their credit card. And Bank of America will not print on their own. They will be always outsourcing to a different printing vendor for credit cards. So I've told you, they are only banks, and credit cards merchants are totally different. Credit card merchants, I should tell you about credit cards a little bit to understand this. um, So I'm going to show you this to understand why I'm telling it's different. So you can have multiple banks, Wells Fargo, Chase, DCU, Bank of America, or Canadian Bank, whatever bank you can have it. But they are going to have credit cards is actually managed by a different, like they're different company, right? So you're going to have Visa or MasterCard. So this is like Visa is totally different and MasterCards are different. They have their own um, like advantages and disadvantages. So now Bank of America has to like integrate with these Visa cards or Mastercards, and they are the one who will be actually printing and sending it. So from our system, it's going to a third party, like how credit checks is happening, right? Credit checks is not done by Bank of America, it's done by a third party. Credit score, right, it's given by a third party team. Same way, our banks in the back end, we have to integrate with this Visa or Mastercard, depending upon like whatever cards we are providing, depending upon the eligibility of the member. Accordingly, like we have to send requests to these teams and their printing vendors, and so that they can print and send. So from Bank of America, they don't have their own set of like printing vendors, or they're just a bank and they're outsourcing this to like multiple different teams in the back end. So you have to understand when they say like why it takes 7 to 10 business days, that's because we are getting a case in backend in Pega. From here, we are again validating whether that what is the eligibility of the member, and whether he wants maybe platinum card or gold or silver, whatever. And then accordingly, we're going to send requests to our Visa or Mastercard merchants, and then they are going to like print and send it. So now they don't have access to our centralized database. They are third party. They are different team. different company altogether. They don't have access to Bank of America's membership system, right? So we have to send those data to them. For example, Pradeepa, she is in Georgia. She needs platinum card. So this is her address. So that data we have to go. It can be real time. It can be batch processing, or it can be like batch processing means we are collecting everybody's like whoever submitted today. Like we are collecting all that data and we are going to send it in one file, maybe like 5 p.m. Like just one, like during a certain time of the day, we are sending that file to the Visa or Mastercard company. They are going to print it and send it. So, or it can be real time. You get every each for every single request, we are going to submit um, like a request again. But that usually it will not happen real time, because that's why we are giving 7 to 10, 10 business days. So that if like 1,000 people are submitting requests today, we will get after we will do some kind of validation. Once they submit their request, we will do like basic validation, membership validation we will do. And then depending upon the criteria, according to, for example, if it's plat in the back end, right, a developer will code if all these people need platinum, they're asking for Visa, these are the details needs to go to Visa team. If they're asking for Mastercard, these are the people's names needs to go to Mastercard team. So accordingly they will code, and this particular request will be routed to that external system. They are going to print and send it, and they have to send an act file back also saying that we have processed this request, the credit card was sent, so that we can update in our system, right? We can update that this transaction is complete. So from an integration perspective, so from front end, from here through online banking or mobile banking, a case is being submitted. Okay, and we have a case here. From here, after a few member validations, it's going to that particular credit card system. Same way for mobile check deposit. So one of the functionality is mobile check deposit, right? Like, let me take that. Let's take another feature here. So they're going to do transfer, okay? Transferring money. So let's get started. I'm going to log in. So member needs to be, so one of the business rules is member needs to be, an existing member needs to have a valid username and password. That's a business rule. Then I'm going to go click on pay and transfer. Then I'm going to click on transfer. In transfer, I'm going to choose an account, from which account to which account. Okay, so for example, I'm transferring from my checking accounts. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to click on to maybe whatever account you're going to like send maybe the amount, done. Okay, so they are going to submit it. And then once they submit it, right, review and transaction, and click transfer, successful. The amount has been transferred. Okay, so completed. So this is how you're going to like tell about the page navigation, like from this screen to this screen, from this screen to this screen. This and all from developer's perspective, you can say. But transferring internally to your account is different. Transferring to a different people is different, right? So if it's going to like you're going to like send money to let's say uh, or you can send to other banks too. So you can either send it to money between Bank of America and your other accounts. I mean, you're transferring internally in Bank of America accounts itself, or you can send it to the other banks. So that is also possible. So when you're going to send it to the other banks, that's when you're going to integrate in the bank and internal. we should be fine. We are going to have a common membership system, that's fine. But if it's external system, that's when, like, once they click on submit, again, if you see, like, in the back end, a case will be created. Again, we have to do all the member validations. We are going to integrate at the back end. We are going to integrate with the other bank, and we are going to have transactions with them. And once that is validated, then we are going to say this transaction is complete, and then we're going to complete that transaction saying it's a successful one. So you need to get like a very high level idea on how this banking application works. So any doubts till now on like how data is going from front end to back end? Any doubts? Ali, any doubts?
Uh, Actually, I missed the initial discussion, so I'll have to check the video again.
Okay. So I'm going to like, we are going to now write business requirements, right? So I'm going to take the notepad. So the BRDs, and we are going to start writing requirements. Okay, the first thing is like, you can take any functionality, let's say through mobile banking, mobile check deposit, and then we are going to do credit card replacement. I'm going to write user story so that um, you can understand. So user story 1, mobile check deposit, happy path. Okay. So as a existing customer, I must be able to scan my check and deposit account, or I must be able to scan my check so that I can deposit the amount in my account. That's one user story. So first is like, as an existing customer, I must be able to, or I must be able to, let's start with the login. Okay. I must be able to log in into my mobile banking. That's one story. Second story is, okay, that's a user story. Acceptance criteria. This story is complete once this is a user story. Okay. Next is, once, okay, now they're able to log in. Now they have to scan the check. So what's the user story 2? Any doubts on these two user stories? I'm going to write this in Jira now. I'm just giving you an idea of from the business requirements how to step by step convert those into technical requirements. Any doubts on these two user stories?
If a new customer uh, tries to use this application, will there be any changes into user story, or there are other
You're
same
very
user
low.
story?
Your voice is very low, Ali. Can you be a little loud?
Hello,
Yeah.
am I audible? Am I audible
Yes.
now?
I mean, a little bit. It's better now. Yes.
I'm saying like these user stories for existing customers. What if there is a new customer? Will this story change,
Yeah. For new
or do
customer,
they?
we are going to have that, they have to register. That will be a functionality. So, for example, as a new customer, I must be able to register in my mobile app and get my, I mean, see, for mobile app and online banking, we are going to have same user ID and password, right? Let me take the. So if you see here, they can do it both ways. They can actually log in here. So if they log in here also, they're going to have user ID and password. That's a given. Okay, they're going to use the same user ID and password in mobile banking too. But if there are new customers, then they have to enroll. So we're going to tell them to enroll. So if it is enroll, it's a different functionality altogether. So that will be a different user story.
Okay, okay.
So they have the criteria here for them to log in into mobile banking means they need to be an existing customer. That's what I'm telling. New customers needs to register and have the user ID and password in order for them to log in into online banking or mobile banking. So you're asking about if there are new customers, what will I do? Okay.
Ma'am,
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
How do an existing customer credentials are validated? Um,
What's that side, Dinesh? Can you repeat
no,
again?
how does the existing customer credentials, their login credentials are validated?
They will usually so for example, when they submit an application here, right? So they'll be able to get it through their, they'll get their password and everything through email. So for example, if you are
N-
brand new,
No, not the new customer, but the existing one. When is the case created on the backend or
the backend, they will only get the
for
case
the
ID as reference ID. The case will be created here.
oh,
Okay, but in the front end,
okay,
they will be saying only for example, this is the case ID. Only the ID they will be able to see.
oh,
So on the front end member, we are not going to show this Pega is actually for internal to Bank of America employees, IT team.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So here, what they will be able to see is when they submit a request, all they will be getting is a case ID saying that if you want to track the status of this, please. I mean, you can go and if you click on the ID, it will show whether the card is coming or not. Maybe it's in status is in progress, something like that. But the actual case will be worked in the backend in this Pega application by the IT team, or maybe case management associates, or maybe credit management associates. The users can be depending upon whichever team you are. For example, if they're submitting a credit card case, so usually the users who will be processing will be like this credit card agents at the back end. So they'll be the users of this application. Or if they're going to transfer through mobile, then that will be a different team. So depending, your Pega users are not customers, not your public. This Pega application is actually accessed by internal Bank of America
Different IT
employee.
teams, yeah.
Correct, correct. This is an internal application.
Yes, yes.
You got it? Okay. So
Yeah, I
what is the
got it.
other question? Sanjana, Sanjana, you asked some question.
ma'am, actually, if an new user anyways they are going to log in with their Gmail from at the starting stage. Like if a new user wants to use this application, then they are going to sign up with a Google, and at the time of depositing the check, they should get a pop-up that register with this bank application, like that
No, in banking we
at the
don't. It's
end.
not like about other in banking. It's not like that. You need to have an actual account a number to get the. You cannot register just with
Okay,
Gmail for banking applications. See here.
okay, okay.
So you're talking like any other app, right? So for banking, it's not like that. For
Yes.
banking, you have to have, for example, in order for me to have a valid username and password, I have to enroll. So it's going to ask me for like my card or account number. Correct. So
Okay,
online
okay,
banking,
okay.
yeah, correct. You need to. So what you will do, for example, in the US, you're coming here as an immigrant. First time you actually have to go to the bank. Okay. So you will
Okay,
go to the
so
bank
okay, yeah, got
and
it,
then
ma'am.
yeah, the very first time before you do online banking, without even like you're telling that without even like seeing you, they're going to give you a card.
Mm,
No,
mm,
no.
mm,
If you're
mm.
coming here like on a H1B visa, I'm telling you, or for your MS and all, the first
Yeah,
time you will actually go to the bank and they,
SSN number.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So without these things, they are not going to issue you
yeah.
nothing. Okay.
Okay,
So,
okay, okay,
without
okay,
account number or some card number, you're not going to get an online account or mobile banking account.
okay, okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
ma'am, once someone created an account,
Mm.
there is an underwriting team which actually verifies or validates the person, right?
Correct, correct.
Person's
So
details.
they are going to ask your passport and all. No, if you're going, if you're like first time, if you're in the US, um, like they'll ask your passport, visa details. They're going to do some kind of checks with you to make sure you are a real person. You are
No, I mean,
eligible to.
no, what I'm saying is like, for example, let's say I want to open an account in Scotiabank. I went to Scotiabank. I gave them necessary documents what they asked me to carry with me.
Mm,
But once I give them all the information, then the next step is there is an underwriting team
mm.
for every bank who does the validation process, right?
Correct, correct. So those people are the
So
ones who will be having access to Pega.
okay, so I mean, in such case, like example in this case, what you are explaining to us, like how many teams are there? Usually, how many teams are there
I
who are
mean, it's
working on the?
multiple teams. It's a very big. See, let's say Bank of America, it's one of the leading banks in the US. I mean, the employees, if you want me to take just IT employees, it could be, I don't know how many. So
I
let's take.
mean, why I'm asking this because I had given an interview before, and that the recruiter asked me one of the question was like, you're working on this project, like how many teams are there? So
And give them a number.
because
See here, number of employees for Bank of America is like 213,000. So just imagine the number of teams. From these, like from IT team perspective, comparing with onshore and offshore and all, definitely it will be around like at least 10 to 15,000 people are working. And you can say for under your team, maybe like you can say we had like about 500 people. Under our staff VP, we had about 500 people, including the offshore resources. It could be somewhere around like 600 to 700. You can easily tell that the whole of IT, it will be more, at least 15 to
no, no,
20,000
no,
people will
just
be there.
just for your project.
For your project, you can say like under my manager, we have maybe 3 Scrum teams. In my Scrum team, we are about like 25 to 30 people, because more than that, we don't want to be in one team, a Scrum team. So if more than 30 people are there in one Scrum, we will divide that into like even more smaller Scrum teams. So you can say under my manager, 500 people are there, including offshore resources. But in my Scrum team, we have like 30 people.
Oh,
Okay. So otherwise, it's very difficult if you, let's say, this 500 people under your manager, everybody in one call. Like we cannot track their work, their performance, nothing, or we'll be unable to track. So they'll be under, like for example, like um, so one. director is there. Under him, we have three managers. Under the three managers, each one is having maybe 100 employees, and each in that 100, maybe like 50 will be on site, 50 will be offshore. That's how model we'll have. So in that itself, we are going to have like 30 people, like maybe two small scrum teams. You got it? We don't go
Yeah,
more than
yeah,
30 because we don't go more than 30. In my experience, we don't do it more than 30. If it goes more than 50 and all, we'll definitely divide into multiple scrum teams, because it's very hard for us to, in the status code, it's going to be very chaotic, and we don't know who is on PTO. We cannot track anybody's work. In planning call, it's going to get very chaotic, right? So we want to make sure it's less than 30, or at least 30 should be fine, but not more than that.
No, actually, why I got confused is because I've seen it depends on the project, right? Project to project, the team size varies. So, for example, this mobile check deposit project, uh, I was just thinking how 30 people would involve their. Uh, I mean, how would they be involved in this process? Because it's a straightforward process, right? Even though it's a project, it's not gonna be a multi-million-dollar project. It's gonna be a simple feature that they'll be working on. Probably, I don't know.
No, it will be multi-millions. Don't think that it will not be multi-millions. So for example, any simple feature, like I will tell you how will we will estimate it. So then you will understand why the budget is always, it's going to be more than millions only, even like for small functionalities, right? For example, this credit card replacement, for that, I can easily say that will be around like 2 million or 3 million, because not only like you're going to like develop this like front end, then we are going to like on the back end, we have to like make sure all this credit agents, right, they are going to like uh they need to have access, and then they're going. Yeah, so it may, the features may look very user friendly, but it's not very easy to develop all this, right? So for you, like looking, it may look like very simple, but in actual scenarios, we need maybe a bunch of developers to develop this test completely into end, not only happy path. If there is something going wrong, what it needs to happen. And also from the business perspective, like I said, you can have underwriting team having access to it, you can have credit card team having access to it, or you can have like for example this zeal, that is a different team. So we'll have multiple business owners from different teams having access to our applications. So when they ask you like, tell me like how big is your team, you have to say at least like in under my manager, we have about like at least 100 to 150, and then in my scrum team we have like 30 people. For every 30 people, we are going to have one scrum master and product owner. And I was responsible for all mobile banking. Like I was responsible for all this, like mobile check deposit, credit card replacement, for mobile transfers. You're going to tell everything. You cannot say I just worked only on mobile check deposit. And it will take some time. We cannot say this can be done